I guess good evening. Welcome to another wonderful Fireside Chat with Kiilu and Jim, and our wonderful guest this evening and this afternoon for Kiilu is Miss Dawn Smith. So,
hey guys,
how are you?
Good.
Nervous? just a fair amount of apprehension.
Well, it is Kiilu asking me the question, so.
Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I'll save the political questions until the very end.
Well, Dawn, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know, down in Atlanta, partner over at your firm, founding partner at Smith & Files. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I am here in Atlanta. I've been here over 30 years, but I'm originally from North Carolina. I moved here with a U-Haul 34 years ago, and then went to law school. Once I came to Atlanta, I had a little circuitous route. I worked for a federal judge for a period of time. I served as a special master on some big class actions. And then ever since then, I have done work involving children and families. So I've done lots of family law. I served as an administrative law judge for a period of time that heard certain cases, particularly those dealing with child support. I helped run our large pro bono program here in Atlanta that serves the civil legal needs of low-income Atlantans. And then I have practiced privately on and off at various points in my career. But I've been doing this now for about 15 years after my last iteration in the nonprofit world.
And where in North Carolina did you come from?
Winston-Salem.
Not too bad. Would you say they're similar or not? What do you like? What do you miss about North Carolina? Let me ask that.
So what I miss about where I was brought up in Winston-Salem is that it's smaller, and it's slower. And I think I miss that a lot. So I miss it a lot. Of course, I miss my family. My parents are still there, and a lot of my extended family, but I've been here so long. I actually divorced in the middle of it, and I had very young children. So they were at the time 3 and 5. And I knew at that time I made the decision, I was never going to take them away from their dad. So it's sort of like I grieved not being in North Carolina many years ago, because they're now 21 and 25. But I knew that wasn't best for them. So
where are they at now?
So one of them's in Boston, getting ready to graduate from college. I'll go up in 2 weeks. And then the other one is here in Atlanta. He went to Florida State, and now he's here.
Oh, that's great. I was going to say, you think Winston-Salem's slow? I don't know. Every time I'm in Atlanta, I would love the traffic to move a little bit quicker. So I don't know. It's pretty darn slow there too.
Yeah. That's why you got to love podcasts and books on tapes, or otherwise you're just going to be in a knot all the time.
I mean, in 10 lanes of traffic, it's amazing to see, that
exactly
how few people know how to drive. That is almost impressive.
Exactly.
So Dawn, if you could go back and give your younger self some advice, what advice would you give yourself?
I'm just going to say the first things that come to mind. One of them is to listen more and speak less, to learn to be quiet and listen before you speak. I wasn't good about that for a long time. Still, some people would say I'm not very good about it.
Did Aaron Burr give you that advice?
Oh, that's funny. I just don't get that. To not take myself so seriously, and what else would I? And it's what we all say, to spend more time with family. I really would tell my younger self, it is so true. Those children grow up and they're gone. And then you're like, what the hell happened? Right? Why didn't I savor it like a really great meal? Because you're just trying to get through it. And it's the best job I've ever had in my life, but it was the one that you felt like you were always on the hamster wheel for. So I think I would say savor it all.
Yeah. It
Well,
does.
Jim, we forgot to go through, this is Fireside Chat. We're sitting down with a drink. And so we at least have to tell what drinks we got. So Jim, when you drinking today?
I stuck to the ranch water again today. So a little tequila, Topo Chico, and lime.
Okay. Dawn?
So guys, I don't drink, so I got a soda water.
Well, you be careful. That stuff hits you hard.
Seriously,
It makes me happy.
that fizz can kind of get into the nose and just,
I'm gonna float away.
Kiilu, what do you got?
Kiilu?
I'm just doing some vodka and zip fizz.
I love the zip fizz.
Yeah, I got up at 4:30 this morning, and so
So I woke up this morning thinking, I wonder if Kiilu's going golfing today. And
oh, absolutely.
The day ends in Y.
Yeah. Yes, I went, and in fact, I went to the range last night, and I had just a great range session, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a killer round. Let's just say it did not translate over.
Yeah, you flamed out last night.
I did, I was really happy with my game yesterday, and I'm just a range king and just didn't have the game today.
Dawn, do you play golf?
No, I do not. I do not. I've met my husband now. When I met him, a bunch of golf balls fell out of the van that I was trying to sell at the time because I had very young children. And he said to me, do you like golf? And I said to him, nope, my dad played golf my whole childhood. I hate it. And he goes, I don't either. So I married him.
Well, what sport do you like? Do you like watching sports at all? And did you play any growing up?
So I love baseball. I used to love watching. I still like college basketball back when it was ACC. I was in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I still like it somewhat. There's some rivalries that are hard. And did I play any sports growing up? So I was a professional boy chaser, and I did it so well. I was very good at it. I was on the varsity team.
Did any of those boys play sports? No.
Oh yeah. No, I also, I was born in 1963, and girls either played a little bit of basketball or a little bit of softball, and I became a cheerleader. So whatever. Not something I'm proud of.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being a cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, my mother said to me at one point, she said, when I told her I needed to quit playing violin so that I could cheer, she said to me, she said, Dawn, you're not going to cheer when you're older. And I said, oh, Mom, you just don't understand. You don't know anything. And now I really wish I'd kept with the violin.
Yeah, it's amazing looking back.
Would you still be playing the violin today, though?
I think I might. Both of my boys or men are, I've got a musician and a theater nerd, so I think I might would have. No, not professionally or anything like that. I was never that good.
That's all. Well, but you got a great, okay, did you switch over and become a Braves fan when you moved to Atlanta then?
No, we were always Braves fans.
Okay. So you had a great year anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite player?
I don't really have any favorite players.
Okay.
Equal opportunity, whoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you could move and live anywhere now, where do you think you'd go? Would you stay in Atlanta?
It's really funny. Well, if I could move and live anywhere now, so and if my children would follow me, and maybe my aging parents would follow me or not, depending on what day of the week it is. I would live in the Southwest. I'd be out where Kiilu is. I love it out there. I love Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado. I really do. So I've spent a lot of time out there.
That's awesome.
Hey, if you like the heat, and and that's the thing. It's kind of like you being from the South,
Yeah,
we got humidity, so it's kind of like once you can handle humidity, then you can handle this, because humidity,
exactly.
you stay wet all day versus out here, it might get really, really hot, but at least you dry off.
Exactly. I know. No, I think I can handle the heat. I walked Chaco Canyon, like a 20-mile hike in the middle of July. So, I mean, that was a few years ago, but I can handle it.
What are some of the good hobbies that you like to do? Hiking, is that one of them, or did
I
you
love to hike. In my
Okay.
younger days, I did a lot of river running. I would raft rivers. I still hike a lot. I do a lot of. It's amazing the number of urban hikes there are, and even nearby there are a lot of hikes. So I'll go hiking. I knit. When I'm really stressed, I do puzzles. It really helps. Like, I got 2 hearings this week, so I can see a puzzle in my future tonight. I don't know, it helps me just go blank, but I do that. And I read a lot.
So when you watch that Liberty Mutual commercial and those guys break out the knitting, are you like, oh, that's a great idea, I could do that?
What kind of embarrasses me, I'm reluctant to say I knit, although I really like to knit. One day my husband came home and I was sitting in a rocking chair and I had reading glasses on and I was knitting, and he walked in and he went, no, this is not what I signed up for. I'm like, dude, sorry, here we are.
Maybe you could knit Kiilu a vest one of these days. He would really.
Would be, I would wear that too.
I know.
I would knit you a sash, would be great. King of the world.
I'd take the vest over the sash, but Now, you were the 2021 Public Service Award co-recipient? Is that true?
Yes, with Ronique Robinson.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
So we were, Elizabeth Lindsay, during her year, established the Racial, Ethnic, and Religious Considerations in Family Law Committee to look at all those things in the practice of family law, in our treatment of clients, the courts, dealings with judges. And so Ronique and I, with a lot of really able folks that joined us, started this committee and developed some programming around it. The most popular of which thus far has been Drinks and Diversity, where we meet once a month and we have speakers and some really interesting conversations. We do breakout rooms. We've also read books. We've done movies. We have now expanded and are doing more educational flavored things. We're going to be doing some webinars and continuing to bring resources to the Academy around issues related to diversity, inclusion, and dealing with all types of folks, all types of judges, all types of clients. So that's what we did. But we just steered the boat a little bit. Everybody else, including you, Kiilu, was instrumental in making it work.
Now, I remember us having a conversation, and you kind of said how RERC just kind of rejuvenated your, faith in the Academy. Do you mind discussing that a little bit?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I mean, I'm very proud. Sorry, I got to let my dog out, y'all. Just
go ahead.
I'll let my dog out.
You got to tell us what kind of dog.
A little mutt that's like a mini pinscher.
Wow.
Her name is Sunny. She thinks she's huge. She's only about 30 pounds.
That's awesome.
I'm really proud of being in the Academy. And I worked hard to be here. And I will say that early on, and I've been in since 2016, I think. I'm not quite sure. I think 16. And hands down, some of the best programming I have attended. And, going to the mid-year meetings and the fall meetings, I was like, oh, finally, like this is so rich and so deep and just what I need. So that I loved. And I love a lot of the people. But I had begun to feel like the Academy was not reflective of the diverse community that I live in and that I've been very intentional about. And that as I've gotten older and narrowed my willingness to do lots of hard work, I've been really focused in the hard work I've done. And I was beginning to have to make decisions about if I'm going to do hard work, am I going to do it with the academy, which in some ways reflects a lot of what is important to me, but in other ways is not reflecting back what are some of my values. So I was beginning to ask those questions, and Elizabeth, asked us to do this, and it fit right in where my adult life has been leading me for a long time.
Well, we're glad you stayed, because you and Ronique have done an excellent job, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you. There are a lot of folks behind it.
And knowing that, what kind of advice do you think you'd give the younger fellows?
To hang in there, to speak up, to participate in a committee, to elbow your way up front, even when it seems like there might not be a seat at the table, that there are a lot more people than you think that will welcome you there. We've got a lot, meaning the older people, we've got a lot to offer and teach you. And we're willing and able now to say, you've got a lot to teach and offer us. So that this is your future, and you can create this future, and you can, walking away from the table doesn't solve the problem. So hang in there. I have a dear friend who's a younger fellow who said to me recently at something national, she said, I'm really young. She goes, I'm 43. I'm going to be here a long time. They can just keep pushing me away, but I'm going to keep coming up. And that's what I'd say. Just keep coming on up.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true. So who would you consider, your hero? Or who is your hero?
So at different times in my life, there would have been different answers. And
Okay.
I can't believe I'm going to say this now, but my mother is my hero. So my mother,
14-year-old didn't think that? 14-year-old Dawn wasn't like, that's my hero.
Jim Mueller, 34-year-old Dawn did not think that. So, but I will tell you why. My mother, she is the daughter of a woman in little bitty Kernersville, North Carolina. And her mother divorced when my mother was young, which was unheard of back then. And
I was like, what?
Wow.
Unheard of. And, her father, my grandfather, was full-blooded Native American, but he was also a POW. And it for various reasons that happened, that did not work. And she grew up in this house full of women. And my mom, graduated from high school, married my dad at 18, and went and learned how to cut hair and became a beautician. And she worked on her feet forever and ever and ever. And then decided she wanted to open, I swear this is a long story, but I'll tell you why she's my hero. She wanted to open a beauty salon. She went to borrow the money. They wouldn't loan money to her. They said, ma'am, if you bring a man in here to sign the loan application, we'll consider giving you some money. So they loaned her the money, and fast forward now, and she's got 3 huge businesses, 80 employees. At 55, she went back to college. She never went to college. She went to college, learned she had a learning disability. Went to college, graduated from college, and then did significant graduate work. And I have watched her lead women. I've watched her lead a lot of people, but I've watched how she leads women. I've watched how she's navigated different decades of social openness for women and particularly women that are in the service industry, right? You know, she's been looked down upon in many ways. And I just, and she has done it with grace, but a really firm backbone. And she's taught me a little bit about being quiet sometimes. So that's why she's my hero. Sorry, I know you thought I'd like give you somebody great, and she is great in my mind.
I was gonna say, that sounds like a perfect person to me.
But you don't know her, so.
That's right.
I feel like we do a little bit more now, and that's what
I was gonna say, but do we ever really know our heroes? At least you know you're a hero.
That's true. And all the while, I will say this at the end, I've learned this in the past year or two of my story, all the while instilling in me a really deep faith, a faith in the mysteries and a faith in that all will be well. Might not be the well that I think it will be, it'll be okay. And I really thank her for that.
That's awesome. Do you think that helped shape kind of where you went in your different paths throughout your career, whether even you knew it at the time, but looking back, do you think that had some influence on all of that?
I think, yes. I think when the judges started commenting on my dresses and my shoes, or would say to me like, Mr. Jones, will you have your girl go run copies? It just made me stand up straighter and demand my spot a little bit more. Yeah, I think it really has shaped it.
So then, besides being, I guess, you know, a professional boy chaser, what did little Dawn want to be when she was growing up? And I'm assuming maybe it wasn't going to be, you know, Joni, because she had already caught Chachi. So.
You just showed your age, Kiilu.
Yeah, I was just going to say. That's even better. That means that 43-year-old young fellow from Atlanta is like, who?
43-year-old's like Googling. Yeah. Who is Chachi?
Who's Chachi and who's this Joni person?
I know. So Kiilu, all my life, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Really?
All my life, I wanted to be a lawyer. All my life I wanted to be a lawyer. Could be because everybody told me I argued so much. I don't know. Or it could be I've always like really loved the underdog. Like I remember going around my little southern neighborhood, knocking on doors, asking people who are they vote for. We're not going to talk politics, but when Jimmy Carter was running, right? So, you know, I just have always, I saw it. I saw the law as a means to maybe balance things a little bit. I've since maybe adjusted that idealistic view. But yeah, I always wanted to be a lawyer.
So what do you think what is one of your favorite things about your job besides the arguing? I mean, that's we all have that as a given.
I'm tired of arguing lately. But yeah.
Should we ask your husband if he agrees with that statement, or do we just let's just skip right past it? Okay.
So one of my current favorite things about it is I really love managing women. My firm is all women. It's not intentional. It just happened that way. I got really tired of hearing the refrain for years of, we just can't keep women. They have babies and then they leave. And I am like so tired of hearing that we can't have women lawyers that are mothers that can still practice at a really high level. I love mentoring women. I love mentoring or making myself available. I don't know about mentoring women of color. I really like that. So that's one of my favorite things. Another thing that I have loved all my life, and I would just say I'm really good at it, is I teach really well. And I love that. I love teaching. So
at least you didn't say I teach really good. But but I would say kudos to you, Dawn, because you do have a very diverse firm. That's awesome to see. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Yeah, and you can't see some of the diversity either, because you know sometimes you can't see it. So we're gay and straight, in addition to being, you know, mixed racially, and we're very intentional about that, and we talk about that a lot.
Good.
Like
I like
I
to see
just
that.
interviewed a white man for like he wanted to talk to me about law clerk job, and my law partner was out of town, and she was like emailing me about what a great time she was having, and I said, well, that's fine because I just interviewed a white dude, so you shouldn't go out of town at all.
What would you say? What's the opposite? What's one of your biggest complaints about your job besides what you were? I mean, I would think besides what you were saying, you kind of experienced growing up in the legal field and all of that.
I think the discourteousness and the unprofessionalism, the inability of so many lawyers to not take these cases personally. Look, I know these are high stakes, no matter what anybody says about what we do, but so many people make it personal. And you don't serve your clients when you do that. And you certainly don't help the court reach a better resolution. I don't think so. You know, I had a guy Friday afternoon, like 2 days ago in a hearing, like I gave my argument. This is the thing about Zoom. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, I don't believe you, like screamed it at me. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing that's not your job. That's a judge's job. You know, it's just so uncalled for, you know, I mean, my mentors as lawyers were, you know, sorry guys, but fine Southern gentlemen, and everybody was courteous to each other. And it just seems the level of rancor has gotten really difficult to deal with.
I did like how you just apologized to Kiilu and I as if we're anything but fine Southern gentlemen.
Well,
with all due respect,
I was going to say, well, I could be.
I was normally surrounded by fine Southern gentlemen.
Maybe a Southern man, or you know, like, hey, Jim and Kiilu, you guys suck, but you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of those things that you would change growing up in your career is accepting this interview opportunity.
Yeah. It's like,
I know, wow.
Should have thought about that again.
No disrespect, and it's like, uh-oh.
Right.
So I know you said that you books on audio and you like to read. Do you watch TV at all?
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show out there right now?
Oh, I'm gonna love this.
Hi, Kiilu. I answered these honestly. So my children say that there's a direct correlation between aging and the number of British detective shows you watch. And I can tell I'm getting old because I love British detective shows and I love cooking shows. And I don't cook, in case y'all just want to know this. I was a single mom for many years. I did all my cooking. I'm done cooking. I married a cook. I don't cook, but I watch cooking shows. So my son came over here recently and said, Mom, there's a cooking show that's got a rat in the kitchen. It's a mystery. It's merging your two interests. So I like cooking shows and detective shows.
That's all.
That's the one where like there's somebody who's intentionally trying to make them lose. And then if they can do that, then they win the prize, right?
They win all the money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. My kids like watching Nailed It, which is this something on, I think it's on Netflix or so, or maybe YouTube, where it's these just regular people trying to cook and bake different things, and it is absolutely horrible, but it makes me feel a lot better about myself. So
I know.
That's always good. What would you say? Yeah. Okay, and also, what's one of your favorite? He went TV show. I wanted to know what's one of your favorite books, or that you've been reading recently, or what do you think?
So I just read. I read everything on Kindle, so I can never remember the names of them anymore. My younger son, for the past 2 Christmases, has given me duplicates of the same book. And the reason is because we read it together, him in Boston and me here, which is just the biggest gift in the world. And we read a book most recently about the Dust Bowl and families in the Dust Bowl who leave Oklahoma and go to California. And it was written by a woman before John Steinbeck wrote The Grapes of Wrath, and many people believe that he cribbed much of what he did from her, and it was beautifully written, and so explains, you know, that rural farming community and the devastation of that, and then them going to California and working in all the fruit and vegetable farms and then trying to unionize it. It was so good and just gorgeous. And don't ask me the name of it right now. We can put it when we send out the link or whatever, because I got to go up and look on my Kindle.
See, that's a much better answer than that he's given you duplicate books because you forgot you read it the first time around.
Well, he then gave me, the other book was called The Book of Sarah, and it's about this really bright guy, and it's apparently a true story, who a really bright, kind of crazy dude who is in the middle of a divorce from his wife. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Because, you know, I read about divorce every day.
Yeah. So did you have a nickname growing up, or do you have a nickname now or anything like that?
No, I mean, people call me doctor because my initials are DRS. So sometimes people call me doctors.
Oh, that's
like
good.
that.
I thought you were
my
going a
husband
totally
calls me
different
things.
angle with that, but now once
My
you
husband-
explained it.
Jim, my husband calls me things that I can't repeat.
I laugh. I don't know how often I'll say things in court, like when somebody says, I just don't believe you. I'm like, well, great. My wife said something worse to me today and she loves me. So I don't care what you have to say. Like, it doesn't matter at all.
So
Okay, well-
does your family have like a motto or anything like that? Do you guys, do you like, if you started something, is there something that they would finish, like your kids would finish, just because you've said it over and over and over again?
Well, if I said it was going to be an adventure, they would go, oh, great, another adventure. I don't know if we have a motto, except, I mean, I really do. I mean, they probably would finish, me saying there's always darkness before the light.
Okay. And everything happens for a reason.
Well, for a reason, or it all works out in the end. If it hadn't worked out yet, it's just not the end. I don't know that I'm not a big believer in that there's some big power moving all the chess pieces, because there's some things that make no sense for why they happen, except maybe to teach us about ourselves, but we could have learned it a little differently in an easier way.
What's one of the most recent movies that you've seen that you like? Or didn't?
Or I didn't. I watched Belfast, which was Kenneth Branagh's movie about that 2 years or that year in his life at the beginning of the conflict in Northern Ireland. I thought it was great. And I thought it was a really great from the point of view of a 9-year-old boy. And the music rocked. It was great music. It was all Van Morrison.
Did he win an Oscar for that one? Or was it something?
I think for the screenplay.
Screenplay? Okay.
I think for the screenplay, he might have.
Is there a movie that you're looking forward to seeing, or you're waiting to come out, or anything like that?
Like something totally random where you're like, yeah, I love
I can't wait for this to come out. I gotta,
Yeah, I'm a huge Toy Story fan. I can't wait for Lightyear.
Okay,
something random.
So Shazam 2, you want to know why?
Yes, I do, because I saw Shazam 1, so I really do want to know why. And I'm a superhero guy.
My husband is retired, and he has done extra work the past 18 months. And so he has been in a lot of things, but the one I really want to see is Shazam 2, because he had to run up and down the street in downtown Atlanta being chased by a dragon, which was really a red light on a pole. So I want to see it to see if he's in it.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
But tonight I'm going to watch The First Ladies, the new show on HBO or Showtime, because he is an advisor to FDR in it. So
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So cool. That's really
yeah. So he met Gillian Anderson, and he's met it's really interesting. He goes and has fun.
That is awesome.
I'm going to say right now that this is probably going to be my last interview, because, now after this, I just realized that I'm just a really boring person, that nothing is going on. You know, at this point, I'm like, good God, my life sucks. Wow.
Kiilu, I knit, for God's sake. I mean, yeah.
It'll be like Fireside Chat with Jim and Jim.
No. Okay, here, tell us this now. Let's see, what's your genre of music that you like? And if you went to karaoke, what would you sing?
Oh, God. So the genre of music I like. So what I listened to this morning. So I love jazz. I have a jazz musician, a sax player. I love jazz. And I really, I like old school jangly rock and roll from the 80s and 90s. I'm just showing my age there. And if
what would that be? Would that be like?
That would be like, REM and all the old people like that. Elvis Costello.
All right. That's not old school rock and roll. REM is not old school rock and roll.
Wait. Kiilu, they started in the 80s, late 70s. Yeah, that's pretty old school. It's not the Who, but, it's second generation.
What she said is, I like really old school rock and roll, Kenny G.
Yeah, exactly. Really threw us off there.
Right. If I'd be ridden out of this house on a rail if I said Kenny G.
That's
and
awesome.
I don't know what I would sing at karaoke. What would I sing at karaoke? Recently, I've been busy writing down hymns for my funeral. So I have no idea what I'd sing at karaoke. I know it sounds really morbid. Why is she writing down hymns for her funeral? Because I really like hymns, and I'm writing them down so that people can do what I want.
You're going to leave it where somebody can find it at least, right? I mean,
well, I had a friend who said to me, Dawn, they can't sing 15 hymns. I said, my funeral, you'll do what I want.
Well, sorry. I would just tell you we'll do 15. How would you ever know?
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, let's see. Let's get some other good
Any more
ones.
good, interesting questions there, Jim? Karaoke, I have no idea what I would sing for karaoke.
Well, here.
But I would definitely sing it to Carrie Muggerman.
There you go.
Now, if you could share a meal with 4 people, who would be those 4 people?
And if I could do it and not be scared to death. So I would really love to share a meal with Toni Morrison and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm probably going to have all women at my table. Maybe not. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I'd love Thurgood Marshall too.
He's not a woman.
I know. I
don't really know history, but I'm just going to say.
I'm adjusting this. And there's a guy, Chief John Ross of the Cherokee Nation from the mid 1800s.
Wow, that's cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what is it? There's
and
a
I
book.
would ask him why they assimilated so much, even though I sort of have an idea, and or I might say how'd that work out for you. But
would you ask him about generational wealth? No, I'm just kidding.
Kiilu, they had generational wealth.
I know
they married those Scottish traders. They had generational wealth. They had everything going for them. They formed their own system of government and everything, and it still didn't protect them. Then
You would love, I think, based on that answer, there's a book, and I am not a reader, so I laugh. I can do audiobooks, that's great, but I don't read.
Yeah.
But I actually had Empire of the Rising Moon about Quanah Parker is an amazing book that actually, might be the only book I've ever shared with Olivia, and was like, you should really read this. So
Empire of the Rising Moon.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It has all that kind of history about Quanah Parker and all that. And settling. It hit a lot of Texas roots too, so that's kind of why we were liking it. But I am not a history buff in any sense of the word. So Kiilu and I would get along, but I did know Thurgood Marshall's not a woman, so I was at least check that part off.
I was gonna say, I think I had read that somewhere.
Yeah,
it was just something.
Listen, gender is a fluid construct, and for all you know, he could be now. We don't know.
I'm gonna say he went by he and him. I'm just
Yeah.
So here are my final two questions.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food? I'm gonna wait till you give me. I'll give you my second question after this one.
Type of food, or well, I love seafood. But if I were stranded on a desert island, could only take one food, it would be a sweet potato. It's like a
Also not
perfect.
seafood.
Also not seafood.
I'm loving this. This is even better.
Again, I got some sort of education. I did go through some schooling. And the last
Okay.
Are we being pranked on this?
Whoa. Okay, this is the deal. If it were like a category of food, it would be seafood. If it were a single food, Kiilu, it would be a sweet potato. That's my answer.
It's going to take you forever to cook that, even on a desert island. That thing will never be hard as a rock.
Hey, I really love steak. But if I was going to be stranded on a desert island, I'd bring celery.
Oh. So you could squeeze those few little drops of water out of it.
I guess, but I wouldn't have peanut butter, so the celery would just go to waste, I love seafood, but if I'm stuck on a desert island, I'd bring sweet potato.
That was great.
Y'all can talk about me after I'm gone.
Oh no, we're going to do it with you. We'll do it right in front of you at the next meeting. You don't have to worry.
I'm going to talk about you like in 10 minutes. I'm going to be talking about you the next meeting we have. I'm going to talk about you the next time we see each other.
Might be eating sweet potatoes. You never know. We're going to see how this works.
Might just bring you a sweet potato just because.
Now, okay, I'm going to interject and ask, what was your first job? How about that for random?
Cleaning brushes and towels at my mother's beauty salon.
Oh.
But if I had to do after that, it would be, I worked in retail at a place called Susie's Casuals.
That's awesome.
Like, do you want that's my first, those are my first job.
That's perfect. I just think it's always interesting.
No. I handed tobacco. Do y'all even know what handing tobacco is?
No.
So when they pull tobacco off the tobacco plants and they bring them in from the field, they used to string them up on these things and put a tobacco hump. Now they have automatic. Well, now they don't do it in the States at all. But you used to hand it to a woman who would string it on there. So I handed tobacco when I was 10.
Oh, that's cool.
Were your hands stained just from?
My hands would stain, but the boys that would come in from the field would throw up at lunch because of all the nicotine.
Wow.
Yeah. I also grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Another little known fact, we would do field trips to the R.J. Reynolds, one of the little packing plants, and they would send us home with junior packs of cigarettes.
Like real cigarettes or the candy cigarettes?
Real cigarettes, Kiilu, 10 to a pack. That's why it was a junior pack.
Wow.
People think I'm not, I'm telling the God's honest truth. There you go.
Interesting. Kiilu, you want to round it out with the good one? I know what I think I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, here.
If you could be any superhero, what superhero would you be and why?
And gender doesn't matter.
Gender doesn't matter.
That's just in general now, Dawn.
Yes, that's true,
Okay.
Jim. That is really true. I'm really loving Superwoman. And
So
why?
does that mean you'd be Batman?
Oh.
I'm really loving Superwoman, so I would be, the Joker.
She was a badass. She was a badass, but I really hate that one of the reasons if I'm thinking about why I really like her, she had a thin waist. So, but she was a badass, even with a thick waist. If she had one, it would be okay.
Now, are you saying like the new? Well, I'm going to mispronounce her name. The new Gal
The
Gadot,
Gal
or are we
Gadot.
talking Linda
No,
Carter?
the Linda Carter.
Okay, there we go.
Linda Carter.
Awesome, and that's because she's a badass.
Yeah.
And you watched the TV series.
Nope. Yeah,
What?
I did back then. Well, back then I did.
Oh yeah, everybody did, except
Well, there
Mueller.
were
Mueller
only
didn't
3
even
channels.
Mueller didn't even know it was a TV series. He was like, "What? What?
Well, we only had 3 channels, Jim.
ABC?
We
No,
were there
there's
too.
4. There's 4: ABC, NBC, CBS, and
And
PBS.
PBS.
Yeah,
That's
and I
right.
remind my kids that you used to get up to turn the knob, and that was it. And if you didn't have the antennas in the right spot, we had that same thing. So that was
Did you remind them that we used to have to watch commercials too?
Oh, yes. That's
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that the kids today don't have to watch commercials yet. As Kiilu would know, with our kids, they still see everything and want it's amazing what they can target. So.
Well, do you
Crazy.
think they get that on YouTube?
They have to get it from somewhere, or
Yeah.
other kids at school too,
Yeah.
It's going to be all these little things now have these quick commercials.
Mhm.
So like YouTube is the 5-second commercial where it just
Yeah.
gives you, if you want to watch it longer, but even like Instagram and all these other kind of things,
Yeah.
they still have commercials, and it's just, they're quick commercials. And some of it is the commercials are the actual, TikTok. Those
Yeah.
are just simply commercials half the time.
It's true. Well, Dawn,
Yeah.
this was awesome. I mean, again, like we kind of laughed. I knew we've taken up an hour of your time. You'll never get it back, but we appreciate it.
And we had said, we were worried because, the last interview went for an hour, and we were like, oh, that's too long. We should just shorten it up. And we had talked about it before. We're like, yeah, but you know what? We're just going to let it go for whatever it is. You know what?
Yeah.
If we're having fun in the conversation, it's flowing. There's no reason for us just to cut it short, just to cut
Right.
it short. And
Right.
especially because, I think the Academy, they should really, know who you are and what you've done, and you're a very interesting person. And so I just want to say, thank you, and I'll send you my address so that I can get my my sweater vest.
Your sweater vest. And I'm glad I could make y'all laugh, guys. Think about it. Seafood and sweet potatoes.
I am.
S&S.
Seriously. I love Wonder Woman, so it would be Batman.
Well, it was great. Thank y'all both so much again. And I know that the Academy will love it.
Yeah, thanks y'all so much for doing this.
And I'm just going to say, I think this is like 2 interviews in a row where like Jim and I, we're not embarrassing ourselves.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing great. I'm embarrassing myself, but y'all are doing great. You're looking, I make you look good.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You made us look really good with the seafood and sweet potatoes. So, that's just,
Made up for our whole Thurgood Marshall being a woman thing. It was good. That's good. Really covering up our lack of historical knowledge. I appreciate it a lot.
Oh, I should not do this tired like this.
Well, go get a good night's sleep. Have a great one. Thanks again.
You too, guys.
Take care, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.